Hello friends, today we are going to discuss regarding echocardiography findings in a patient with mitral stenosis. Number 1. Changes in mitral wall morphology. That may include number 1. Thickening of mitral wall leaflet. Number 2. Diastolic doming of anterior mitral wall leaflet in diastole. That gives a hockey stick appearance. Number 3. Restricted movement of posterior mitral wall leaflet. Then second, commissural fusion. So there is fusion of mitral wall commissures which leads to funnel shaped appearance of mitral valve orifice. It is best seen in short axis view. Third, changes in subvalvular apparatus. So there is thickening and fusion of chordae tendineae. Number 4, left atrial enlargement. It is due to chronic pressure overload and one may find thrombus or spontaneous echo contrast. Then reduction in mitral valve area. It can be calculated via planimetry. So normal mitral valve area is between 4 to 6 centimeter square. If it is between 2.5 to 1.5 centimeter square, we label the patient to have mild mitral stenosis. If it is between 1.5 to 1, we label the patient to have moderate mitral stenosis. If it is less than 1 centimeter square, we label the patient to have severe mitral stenosis. And if it is less than 0.75 centimeter square, then we label the patient to have critical mitral stenosis. Then transmitral gradient. So in mitral stenosis, there is elevated transmitral gradient. Transmitral gradient is basically a pressure difference between the left atrium and left ventricle during diastole. It reflects the severity of obstruction across mitral valve. It can be of two types. Number 1, peak mitral gradient. Peak mitral gradient is a maximum pressure difference between the left atrium and the left ventricle during diastole. We can classify mitral stenosis on the basis of it. So, if peak mitral gradient is less than 10 mm Hg, we label the patient to have mild mitral stenosis. If it is between 10 to 18 mm Hg, we label the patient to have moderate mitral stenosis. If it is more than 18, we label the patient to have severe mitral stenosis. Then we have mean mitral gradient. Mean mitral gradient is the mean pressure difference between the left atrium and the left ventricle during diastole. It is used to assess severity of mitral stenosis. Now we can again classify mitral stenosis on the basis of mean gradient into three types. If the mean mitral gradient is less than 5 mm Hg, we label the patient to have mild mitral stenosis. If mean mitral gradient is between 5 to 10 mm Hg, we label the patient to have moderate mitral stenosis. And if mean mitral gradient is more than 10, we label the patient to have severe mitral stenosis. Then pulmonary arterial hypertension. So in mitral stenosis, patient may develop pulmonary arterial hypertension, and depending upon the pulmonary arterial hypertension, we can classify mitral stenosis. So we have to calculate pulmonary artery systolic pressure first. So if the patient has pulmonary artery systolic pressure less than 30 mm Hg and TRZ velocity is less than 2.8 m per second, then we label it to be normal. If a patient has pulmonary artery systolic pressure between 30 mm Hg to 50 mmHg and TR jet velocity between 2.8 to 3.4, then we label the patient to have mild pulmonary arterial hypertension. If pulmonary artery systolic pressure is between 50 to 70 mmHg and TR jet velocity is between 3.5 to 4.2 m per second, then we label the patient to have moderate pulmonary arterial hypertension. And if pulmonary artery systolic pressure is more than 70 mmHg or TR jet velocity is more than 4.2 m per second, then we label the patient to have severe pulmonary arterial hypertension. So, other supportive finding in a patient with pulmonary arterial hypertension may include right ventricular hypertrophy or right ventricular dilatation, then flattening of interventricular septum, that is D-shaped left ventricle, then dilated pulmonary artery and dilated IVC with reduced inspiratory collapse. Thank you.